General manager for the Minnesota Vikings, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, has been fired. Joining us now, the man that broke the news, senior NFL insider for ESPN, Adam Schefter.
Hey.
Schefter, good to see you. Hope the kitchen's doing well. Okay, tell me about the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah firing. This feels late in the cycle. What do they do from here? How'd they get to this point?
Well, it is late in the cycle. It's an unusual time to fire somebody when he had been in Mobile at the Senior Bowl all week long, working for the Vikings, and then you come back to chilly Minnesota and deliver the news just a short time ago, minutes ago, that you are firing Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Now, let me say this, that I think one of the things that people talked about in the league all during the year was the tension that existed within the Vikings organization. And there were people who said, someone just texted me this morning, they go, I told you it was ugly in Minnesota. And there was all sorts of talk. People didn't like people didn't get along, tension. I remember speaking to our Vikings reporter, Kevin Seifert, about it a few weeks ago. We had thought that there was a transfer of some power from the front office to the coaching staff, that the coaching staff had been given more power. The point is, Pat, there's a lot to this. There's a lot that's going to come out on this particular situation. But the way it was set up was not working for people.
Okay.
And the Vikings made the decision to fire him. Now, they have inserted their longtime executive vice president, Rob Brzezinski, into the role, the leadership role. He will lead the team through the draft. So that tells you that they're not in any rush to go hire some new general manager right now. Rob Brzezinski will lead the team. And then after the draft, they will do a search for a new general manager.
Okay, it sounds like Kevin O'Connell's doing the leading of the team, feels like, if that is what you are kind of talking about, the power going. And if you need to answer that, certainly answer that. If it's any more information or breaking news, we appreciate you obviously joining us here with little to no warning. So it sounded like somebody wasn't happy that maybe J.J. McCarthy had to be the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't want to just like point to one thing, but because there was reports that maybe Aaron Rodgers would go to the Minnesota Vikings. And then there was rumblings maybe coach was like, yes, just like any player or coach in the NFL would naturally do normally, is like Aaron Rodgers can potentially be, especially if the coach is a quarterback, I could really make some magic. There was allegedly interest there. And then ultimately a decision was made to go with J.J. McCarthy, and let alone Sam Darnold. Interest had to be there. Now we're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold now obviously in the Super Bowl. Is that where it kind of begins and ends? I don't want to kind of...
Look, here's the deal. When you have the quarterback situation that they did this past year, where Daniel Jones was in the building and Sam Darnold was in the building, and they leave, clearly there are going to be questions that are asked and blame that's assigned. Now, I'm not telling you that this was a Kwesi Adofo-Mensah decision or a Kevin O'Connell. I don't know exactly how it came out. I do remember that they wanted and tried to keep Sam Darnold. They made an offer to him, and it just so happened that the market was such that there was more money out there and a team that wanted him even more than Minnesota, which had drafted J.J. McCarthy. Daniel Jones, they also attempted to re-sign. They tried to re-sign both those guys. And it wasn't happening at that moment. So they wanted to keep both, but they also had a commitment to J.J. McCarthy that they drafted in the first round. And that's an organizational decision. I don't know, who drafted him over the other one, but they all signed off on it, I think, obviously. And I know that they definitely worked to keep Darnold and Jones, and both wanted and were willing to leave.
Yeah, and you and I know what that means when a team wants to keep somebody or they don't want to keep somebody, or they're interested but not actually. Sam Darnold's deal is not that huge of a deal whenever it comes to quarterback deals that he took to go to Seattle. Now, I did hear they took less money to go to Indianapolis. Now, granted, that was only like $10 million. So whenever you talk about what the deals could be with Minnesota offering, not that I want to just continue to pit. Was that? Go ahead.
No. I think Minnesota offered... I think Minnesota was offering Sam Darnold way less than Seattle. Seattle was about $35 million a year.
Yeah,
and
55 guaranteed, I think.
Minnesota came in way less, I believe.
Exactly, which goes back to what I was asking you about, like, yeah, we want you.
Right. Well, here's the deal. Teams' offers always speak volume. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
right? Like,
yes, Schefter.
Money. It's not about the money, but it's always about the money.
Yes, it is.
The money says to you how much we're prioritizing you. The money says how much we want you. So if you're the Vikings, yeah, we want you. We want you to the tune of $20 to $25 million a year or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Seattle, they want you $35 million a year. So Seattle wants you more than Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah, that's how business works in professional sports, at least. Now, granted, there are guys that make decisions to do stuff, and allegedly Daniel Jones took less money here to come to Indianapolis because of the opportunity potentially. It worked out for us great. I didn't even think about Daniel Jones because of how long he's been injured. Having to see Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl after what he won 14 games or whatever with you guys a year before that, let alone Daniel Jones like the number one in it. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's next year, too.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Break that news, Schefter. Daniel Jones coming back, going to be the number one quarterback in the league, and the Vikings let him out. Maybe that's why Kwesi is currently not the Minnesota Vikings general manager, but I'm sure there was other decisions that were making as well. That was, huge news there out of Minnesota. And it sounded like as he was talking, he was like, there was a power transfer to the coaches. There was disagreements in the building. It's like, so that normally is a case of, we don't think you did the right stuff with the players. Whose job is that? It's that job. Or that. That's why alignment is such a big deal. But boy, if it gets out of line, I think cutting is the right move. Because if two guys or a girl and a guy, whatever the case is in the future, if they are not on the same page, they're working against each other, trying to prove that they are the right one so they can stick around. So cutting it off, if that is the case, is the right play, I think, personally. And it feels like they're empowering Kevin O'Connell here. That's what it feels like.
The timing seems very weird to get rid of your GM right now. January 30th when he's at the Senior Bowl. That makes you think like, okay, this has been an ongoing thing for a long time, and then they just finally pulled the trigger now, which is kind of just a weird time, I think.
Well, the narrative kind of started going from, because we talked about Kevin O'Connell, like, hey, this guy can win with any quarterback. It doesn't matter who he gets in there. And then the Darnold stuff happens, and we see what happens with JJ this year, and it started to become kind of like, well, are we sure KOC knows what he's doing too? So I wonder if that was part of like hey, no, I wanted Darnold, and this guy said he'd get it done, and he lowballed him, and then Darnold decided to go to Seattle.
So many different thoughts. And Schefter said, we're going to hear a lot about this, because Kwesi's team is certainly going to want people to understand where he's coming from. That is certainly a part of this entire gig. Just like that electric company over there in Santa Clara, they're going to have their side.
Yeah,
they will.
Oh, they're going to have theirs. They're going to have their things
Big
arguing.
electric.
You think they're going to want to move that entire power plant? You think they're going to shut that down?
No.
No way. I'm worried about that over there.
They're not shutting that
They got
down.
a great argument.
Who?
Tell you that much. The electrical company.
Yeah, we started to see their game plan. We started to see their game plan, and I'm telling you what, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. But we understand what they're saying. I just don't think that's necessarily great for, any of it. If you're Niners are an older team too.
Oh yeah.
We don't need.
Yeah.